Saturday, September 8th, 1962. The Mavin Griffin campaign comes to Gainesville. Gainesville, the broiler capital of the world, is the site of the last great Griffin rally in an historic campaign for the governorship. Thousands of North Georgians have assembled here. They've come to join the great majority of Georgia citizens who have taken their stand with Mavin Griffin. They've come also to eat some of the famous Southern fried chicken for which this part of Georgia is so famous. The size of this and other recent Griffin rallies is another indication that the voters of Georgia will sweep Mavin Griffin into office next Wednesday. Last Thursday night, more than 20,000 turned out for the Mavin Griffin rally in Augusta. On September 1st, a Griffin rally at Douglas attracted 3 times as many Georgians as a Sanders rally held in the same place a few days before. A recent rally in Athens brought together more than 12,000 Mavin Griffin supporters. Yes, the bandwagon is really rolling, and more Georgians are getting aboard every hour. A highlight of today's Gainesville rally is the auctioning of a bale of cotton, proceeds to go into the Griffin campaign fund. The bale is bought by Sam Simmons, a Griffin supporter from Cartersville. Mr. Simmons paid for the bale, then gave it back to be sold again. Platform guests include prominent citizens from throughout North Georgia, including Wally Butts, athletic director of the University of Georgia. And now to introduce Georgia's next governor, one of the most outstanding citizens of this state, Jesse Jewell of Gainesville.
Charge to keep. I have got to glory and fitted for the sky.
In 1961, the Albany Civil Rights Movement was born when a group of African American leaders petitioned the Albany City Commission to desegregate city facilities. In October of 1961, the Student Nonviolent Coordination Committee, SNCC, sent 2 of its representatives to set up a voters registration office in Albany, Georgia. Charles Sherrod was one of the representatives.
One of the most peculiar places I've ever been in my life was Albany, Georgia. The first thing that struck me when I came to Albany was the uniqueness of his music.
Mavin Griffin long ago took his stand. As long as I am your governor, there will be no breakdown in the pattern of segregation in this state.
A promise made, a promise kept. Throughout his term of office, Governor Mavin Griffin provides the strong leadership necessary to preserve the customs and traditions for which our forefathers fought. The governor's stand on this issue is always crystal clear.
We are standing firm as the rock of ages in our defense against attacks on our system of segregation in Georgia. We have established a legal line of embattlement to protect our people from onslaughts by outsiders. We will not tolerate violence in our state, nor will we yield to the illegal and unjust attempt made to mix the races in the schools and in the colleges of Georgia.
And during the summer of 1961, I came back home. And when I came back home, didn't know that the Albany movement was, a voter registration drive was going on. And I just happened to be walking down the street one day, and a young man named Charles Sherrod and Cordell Reagan approached me about, do you want to be free? I said, what do you mean, do I want to be free? I am free.
Let's take our friends and neighbors. This is the most crucial and the most important election be held in our state for 92 years, or since the days of Reconstruction, which followed the war between the states. Now Georgia is at the crossroads. What are we going to do about it? The issue is clear. You know, every time that this crowd doesn't want to do something supposed to be, or they want to minimize something that's very important in Georgia, they say, well, that's not even an issue, or that doesn't amount to anything. My opponent said last night that, of course, the race issue was not an issue. He said segregation was not an issue. I don't guess it is. Not with him, not with the crowd. He's going to bed with it. I don't guess it is.
How, at that point, the fear in some black people to step up to the responsibility for equality was deeply rooted, which was part of the reason why the struggle was so difficult.
The struggle was indeed a difficult journey, and it became even more frustrating when the sacred meeting place and where many of them found refuge, the church, came under attack.
I remember clearly Everett Cleaver and Stokely Carmichael and Huey G. Newton saying, you know, Doc, this is the last straw. When you burn our churches, you've done all you can do to humiliate me and to run us away. We appreciate where you've taken us from to where you brought us today with regards to nonviolence, which is a passive resistance of the way you want us to go. But we can't take this, knowing full well that our sacred meeting places, our churches, are going to be burned. And if you're going to burn our churches, what are you going to do next? So you have no reasons to continue to do what you've always done, that is to turn the other cheek.
A promise made, a promise kept. Marvin Griffin does maintain segregation in Georgia. Not until his tenure of office is up and a new governor is in power do the integrationists begin to make headway in the state of Georgia. Marvin Griffin, the governor who means what he says when he promises to preserve hallowed traditions.
The retaliation came because we were black. The retaliation came because the white folk didn't want us to get what we wanted to get. For instance, we wanted to sit down at the restaurant and eat. That's all we wanted to do.
2 Negroes at Albany State College on the faculty absconded with over $8,000 of the taxpayers' money more than 2 years ago. They haven't even been tried. Nobody has prosecuted them. Nobody has prosecuted them. But if old Mavin Griffin had been sitting in the governor's chair, they would have said or insinuated that I put the gentleman up to it.
We just had seen how other major cities, the larger cities, were doing better. They were making progress, okay? And in order for us to make the progress and to move into this 21st century, we couldn't be the same. We couldn't stay the same. We had to step out there and make it better for those coming behind us.
That we're already using Georgia chicken in the school lunchroom. But here's what I want to say to him and his cronies in your presence. Now, Martin Luther King and Carl can't do anything about utilizing these chickens. But if he and his crowd were to go into that governor's office, you better get a shotgun and guard the chicken house.
We were afraid, and sometimes we would kneel and pray at the courthouse. And the police chief would come out and say, all right, if you don't leave now, I'm going to lock you up. And we would get up quietly very, very quietly, very peaceful. And we would move and go back to the church in silence. We wouldn't say a word. It was always done peacefully.
All of these untruths, all of this maliciousness, all of this deceit is for one purpose and one purpose only, my friends, and that is to attempt to split and to divide the white people of Georgia and then try to conquer with the NAACP block vote. I am your candidate in this campaign. I owe no obligation to this treacherous gang headed by the Atlanta newspapers, the NAACP, Martin Luther King, and those who control these two puppets, Ernie and Carl.
How you like to walk every day and know there's somebody following you? Every time you pick up the telephone, there's somebody tell you, nigga, I'm going to kill you if you don't get out of town. Every time you drive in the car, there's somebody, a police car following you, stopping you. See, that's a kind of fear that you can't get rid of unless you got that music with you. Ain't gonna let nobody, Lordy, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody. That was the music that we had.
For the Negro citizens of Georgia, the St. Andrews Beach subdivision is established. And finally, the crowning achievement of the Jekyll Island Authority, the magnificent new Aquarama. There's nothing quite like it anywhere else on earth. The Aquarama is practical as well as beautiful. It houses a large glass-walled auditorium overlooking the ocean, an indoor, heated in winter, Olympic-sized swimming pool, and an expansive exhibition hall. The Aquarama, a building of which the administration of Governor Mavin Griffin may well be proud.
Of course, you know what music does for the soul, okay? So we would sing songs, and then songs like, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around, I'm on my way to Freedom Land, Come and Go With Me. We would sing songs like that, and if you want your freedom, come on and walk with us or march with us.
These songs were used to motivate those involved to continue their struggle and overcome fear. Those involved in the Albany movement recognized the power to vote as the vehicle to bring about change.
Negro Park facilities built or acquired during the Griffin years include George Washington Carver State Park on Lake Allatoona, Keg Creek State Park on the Clark Hill Reservoir, and the Negro 4-H Center near Dublin.
What started out as a small group of individuals determined to end segregation grew into a successful mass movement.
This generation needs to take it a little higher, needs to become more empowered in whatever they want to do. The young people of today wouldn't have been able to withstand what we did because they would have been fighting back. We couldn't fight back. If we had fought back, we would have lost everything.
Stone Mountain is acquired for the state, and its development as a major tourist attraction has begun. A great science center is built at the University of Georgia. An atomic reactor and radioisotopes laboratory are established at Georgia Tech. A new home for the Southern Technical Institute is built at Marietta. The world's finest farmers market is erected in Atlanta, and the world's finest forestry center is located at Macon. Many historic sites and monuments are preserved for future generations.
College students, high school students, those are the young people that we had to get to do the action. Because young people had no fear of death. You got any fear of death? You think you're gonna die sometimes real soon? You don't know about death, do you? You don't think about death. You think about partying, don't you?
My friends, my time is about expired, but I want to say to you, in this election, and it's all important, those who will help me night and day, hold up your hands.
And so Mavin Griffin winds up the greatest series of political rallies in Georgia history. Saturday after Saturday, rain or shine, thousands of Georgia citizens have come together to take their stand with Mavin Griffin. And now, with Election Day at hand, they will go to the polls and join the hundreds of thousands of their fellow Georgians to sweep Mavin Griffin back into office. They will vote to give Georgia 4 more Griffin years. They will vote to put Georgia back on the move and to preserve individual rights and freedom. On Wednesday, cast your vote for the winner. Vote for Mavin Griffin. As a direct result of Mavin Griffin's dynamic leadership, Georgia makes more solid progress during the Griffin years than ever before. The Griffin years, good years for Georgia.